I'm really excited. We have made it to our final presentation of the day, and this one I had a little bit of a hand in ahead of time, and so I'm really excited that we've got CDFA here. They're going to share a little bit more about the Farm to School program, and we also have someone here from Upland Unified who's going to share a little bit more about what they're doing specifically in their district. After these two presentations, we'll open up for some Q&A and a little bit of a roundtable discussion. So right now, I'm going to welcome up to the stage Sophia Rimmer-Bott, the Regional Farm to School Network Lead for Greater Los Angeles, California Department of Food and Agriculture. Sophia has national, state, and local experience in Farm to School. And joining Sophia is Cassidy Boardman, the Farm to School Manager of Upland Unified School District. For the past 5 years, she has been at Upland USD helping to develop a sustainable farm to school program that educates students about food systems, sustainability, and community. And she started out as an intern, which you know I just love. So please welcome both Sophia and Cassidy to the stage. Thank you. Whatever. Drop the mic.
About California's amazing farm to school program. So I'm sure everyone here knows what farm to school is at this point. If you did it this morning, you definitely do now. But just as CDFA defines it, farm to school involves sourcing California local foods for meals, snacks, and activities, and combining that with education that can really tie what's going on in the cafeteria to the classroom. Because I'm sure, as a lot of us know here, you know, when a kid grows their own produce or they meet the farmer that grew it, they're much more likely to try it and feel like they're involved, because they are. And then really focusing on experiential learning within the community. Farm to school is incredibly place-based, and so we're really able to bring the community in so kids know, you know, where they are and what's going on within their community, and they can be a part of it. So California's Farm to School program is housed within CDFA's Office of Farm Report, and this is just like a very broad overview of what we do. We've been coordinating a California statewide network for a long time, but we're just kind of moving into this really exciting phase of building regional networks. We administer our incubator grant program, which I'll talk a little bit more about. We connect farmers and producers to schools. We do that matchmaking. And we also improve communication statewide so everyone knows what's going on and who they can learn from. So this is a little map of our new regional network. So down at the bottom bar is our state level team. If you've been involved in our network, you've probably met Nick or Rachel or Amy. And they were running the entire state level network with just the three of them, which is a huge job because it's a huge network. So now we've carved the state into 8 different regions, and each region has a farm to school network lead and a producer engagement specialist, and I'll go into what those roles mean. But yeah, I'm covering the greater LA region, which includes LA, Orange County, and San Bernardino. I've also been covering the southern region, but we're hiring for that position now, so we should have someone soon. And Jackie, over here, raise your hand, is our South Coast network lead. So that's me and Jackie. And basically, a big part of our role is to build these regional networks. So we've really been focusing on meeting with tons of different partners within our region to figure out what's already happening and what amazing work is already going on. And then kind of building off of that to see who needs to talk to who can work with who, and where those gaps are and how we can kind of fill them together. We also support our farm to school grantees. I think something really special about our farm to school program and grant is that we don't just give people money and like shove them off on their way and say good luck with your work plan. districts that aren't our grantees. So really any school district that's interested in farm to school is already doing farm to school and wants to, learn what other possibilities there are or build capacity, we can talk to. And we also help to build connections between different school districts. So as you all know, there's amazing work going on, and there's something that we can all learn from each other. And like every school district has their own specialty, their own experiences that they can share with other school districts. So we help build those connections. We just had our very first LA meetup at LA Leadership Farm, which was super fun. Cassie was there. She can attest. But we'll have more in the future as well. And I would say, reach out to us if you're looking for ideas for programming, resources, new funding opportunities. There's tons of funding. We've talked about it, a little bit about that today. And if you're looking to really build more sustainable programming, we can help with ideas and connect you to people that can, share their experiences. If you want connections to new partners, we can do that. And if you want to tap into other related networks, or if you're looking, to be more connected within Farm to School. This is our producer engagement specialist team for LA and the South Coast, Tracy and Chris. And they're really much more on the procurement side of things. So they both have experience in farming. They know how to talk to farmers. They know what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. And they provide value chain coordination. So they help farmers and schools talk to each other and speak the same language. Because there can be a little bit of a gap there. It can be really difficult for schools to learn how to procure from farms, since they're usually, working a lot of the time with distributors and other sort of vendors. And we can introduce farms to farm to school and to school districts and show that it is a really great, viable market. And they also support our farm to school grantees. And I would reach out to them if you are looking for to build connections with farmers in your area, if you're looking for a specific product, if you're hitting road bumps with procurement, they can help with that. And also, you might have talked to them if you had opted in for Local Foods for Schools. They did a lot of outreach and partnered with CDE on that. And with the School Foods Best Practices funding, we're also going to be doing a lot of work with school districts to help build out plans on how to spend those funds. So our grant program, as you can kind of see with this timeline over here, we're getting $60 million for 2023, which is really exciting. And it just creates such a huge opportunity to continue to scale farm to school in California. So just a quick overview of our grant. We have 4 funding tracks. The first one is for K through 12 districts. And another thing that's special about our grant is it's very open to the needs of the district, because we know that farm to school looks different in every single district and every single school, depending on the interests and the needs of the folks that are there. So as long as there's a local procurement piece and an educational piece, we kind of leave it up from there. Our track 2 is for partnerships and TA. So these are all the support organizations that work with 2 or more districts on farm to school. Track 3 is for farm to early care and education, and so this can be individual sites, or it can be support organizations, Head Starts, CCR&R, folks like that. And then finally, for track 4, we have a funding track for producers. So this is to help them build partnerships with school and to scale up their production to work with schools. All right, so like I said, the projects are really unique in every single grantee we have, so it's hard to kind of pick out what a grant would look like. But you can definitely check out our 2022 project summaries, which is linked there, to get an idea of what these grants can look like. But they've included school gardens, youth action councils, curricula related to agroecology and environmental resiliency. We even have, a grantee that's using consultants to build a local procurement roadmap to scale procurement in their districts.
And of course, tons of farm field trips, farmers market days, schools assemblies, just a ton of fun educational activities. So our grant, we're going to be opening up for public comment very soon, and then we're hoping to release it before the end of the year. So if you're interested in the grant, I would definitely check it out. You can reach out to me or the network lead that's in your region. But here are just some fun general tips for a strong grant to start thinking about now. We do like to see the inclusion of both local procurement and education. And when looking at farmers to partner with, we really prioritize farmers that use climate and agriculture smart practices like organic, composting, low no-till, as well as socially disadvantaged and small to mid-sized farmers. And then when looking at the education piece, we're looking for standards alignment, hands-on food education opportunities, and just well thought out educational opportunities. I'd also suggest getting partnerships in place with producers now, and that's something that we can help with. So if you're looking to partner with a farmer or a food hub in your region, then definitely reach out to us. And then clearly making the case for project need. Here are just some statistics that can be used, but just being very clear in that case, in the application. And then finally, farm to school programs to really have big impacts and sustainability cannot be siloed in one department. So we're looking for relationships within the district in administration, in education, and within food service. So starting to cultivate those relationships now. And then finally, just some of our state level activities. I have a link down here for our newsletter. I would definitely sign up for that. I think, no bias, I think it's one of the best newsletters out there. Maybe I'm biased. Okay, I'm biased, but but we send out tons of different funding opportunities, stories about farm to school going on in the state, new resources that are coming out. We also have an Instagram, if you're into that. And we have our quarterly community of practice calls. So these are once a quarter, and they're very engaging. We have all different folks that are involved in farm to school come on, and we usually have a specific topic that we talk about, but then really just open it up for conversation and questions and free-flowing conversation. And then finally, we have our biennial conference once every other year, and it's actually happening this month on the 24th and the 25th. Great timing. And this is going to be super fun. We're going to have a big meal together. We're going to have farmers there. We're going to have panelists, action planning. You'll be able to meet people in your region and also across the state. And it's going to be happening at Palm Desert right before the CSNA conference. So we're trying to line it up. So if you're coming to CSNA, you can come to the Farm to School conference first if you want. And it'll be at Aziz Farm. So we'll be outside on the farm. It'll be very lovely. So if you'd like more information about that, you can email us or just put into Google search California Farm to School Conference, and it'll pop up. Yeah, that's all I've got. And I'll pass it over to Cassidy.
All right, I threw in a crazy curveball that we're all just going to go with today, mostly because I loved hearing what's going on with CDFA. We've been a recipient of some incredible funds. I know Cassidy's going to talk about what's going on in Upland, but we have with us today Claire, who is the Farm to School Coordinator in San Luis Obispo County, and they were also a recipient of a CDFA incubator grant. And so we thought we would just show a little bit of a video so that you can see what's going on in another area. So if you'll play that for us, and then we'll get into Cassidy's presentation. Thank you.
Slow Money started Farm to School Central Coast in response to a long identified need in our region for more local sales outlets for our small and medium-sized farmers.
My name is Jacinto Bautista. I am the general manager of Bautista Family Farms. The farm has been in operation since 1988, began by my father, Manuel Bautista. First, it's a family thing for us. This is what I grew up with. I've been going to farmers markets since I was 5. And also I love the process of watching the plant grow from a seedling all the way till we harvest the fruit. It's crazy how much the plant actually gives you.
My name is Gerald Mahoney. I'm the general manager of Blosser Urban Garden. I've always had a passion for farming ever since I was a kid. I would go out with my dad and check on the crops and started to realize how important the food system was and how unique it is here in San Luis Obispo County and Santa Barbara County, especially because we can grow such a variety of foods.
Hi, Georgia. My name is Catherine Welch. My husband and I, we have been running Windrose Farm for the last 3 years. We didn't really choose to farm. Farming chose us. We were looking for property back up on the Central Coast, and we met Bill and Barbara Spencer, who started Windrose Farm. We wanted to expose our kids to farming and this lifestyle and where food comes from, and so we've made the decision to move up here during the pandemic, took over the operations of the farm, and now have been farming.
We've seen over the past few years that farm to school is really a win-win for everybody involved. The farmers are getting more bulk sales on a consistent basis. The students are receiving the most nutritious, freshest produce possible. And the schools have actually seen an increase in meal participation.
Farm to School Central Coast helped connect us to those farmers and helped kind of bridge that gap between the school districts and the farmer themselves. I feel like for our district, it decreased a lot of that administrative burden and kind of figuring out what's available, who has what, the seasonality of the produce, really bringing that all together so it can streamline. So now we can just go directly to the farmer. It takes one step off of our plate and makes it easier for both the farmer and the school district.
That's wild, Rocket.
I think it's really important to know that while Farm to School is an essential part of making the school day fun, it's also a really important part at promoting our local farms and food businesses. In a time where California is promoting universal free meals, Farm to School really helps us provide nutritionally adequate meals that taste delicious as well.
I think it's really cool how we as like a district have learned that, oh, we can still have this really delicious foods while keeping a very balanced diet.
What I like about the school meals are they fill me up, they're delicious. At the salad bar we have broccoli, salad, carrot, and snap peas. And my favorite fruits at school are strawberries, peaches, bananas, and oranges.
I usually like to get the Caesar salad whenever it's available, and then I will get usually like an apple or an orange.
There's a lot of variety, which I appreciate. There's definitely a lot of options, like it's not the same thing every day.
I think that as a program operator for a federally funded and state-funded program, we have a responsibility to use those dollars wisely, and one of those ways is to support local farms.
I wanted to give our students the most nutritious food that they could possibly get, and eating local not only reduces your carbon footprint, but it also maintains the most nutritional quality of the product, and that's why I chose to do Farm to School.
The kids just come in glowing when they see those humongous local strawberries, and then we pair that most times with our chocolate hummus, which we really are proud of, and so those two things together and seeing the kids' faces with that is the most inspiring thing for me.
It's been really, really rewarding to expose kids to what's grown locally, and just such a variety of different flavors is really incredible. I think that sourcing local is also tremendously important, and it just shows kids what is available in their backyards, because just to see the food that the kids get to enjoy has been, I think, really beneficial.
Farm to School reached out to me, and they have been a great help because now we don't have any waste of produce. They have taken, all our extras and feeding it to the students. So it's helped us tremendously.
And for kids, it sparks that conversation of, hey, this is the farmer who grew this. We get to have that connection with our food and really show them like what's coming onto their plate, and so that they can respect their food system and get excited about eating fruits and vegetables and that hopefully will last their lifetime.
We've seen tremendous growth in participation over the past few years from more farmers and more school districts. And our role in that has been communication. We collect a lot of information from farmers and school districts about what produce is available and what protocols the schools need. And we can organize that information and distribute it to everybody involved. This communication piece has been critical in making Farm to School successful, but we also recognize that relationship building is really also key to making the program move forward. We know that the trust that these folks have worked really hard to build with one another is what's going to continue to help Farm to School overcome barriers.
There's people sitting in that middle table, so I'm sure they'll do autographs afterwards. But it's so exciting and inspiring to see what CDFA is igniting in schools, and I can't wait for Cassidy to let us know what's going on in Upland as well.
I'm going to get us out of here on time. So if I skip over anything, I'll be here all week, and I would be happy to chat, and I have my contact information. My supervisor is the Director of Nutrition Services, Ksenia Glenn. This project really would not have started without her or be possible without her. So I've been sending her all the updates, and this is like you are all her people, so I think she'll, we really have benefited a lot from being here already. So, just a table of contents. So really want to go over what Farm to School is in Upland. As mentioned before, I started as an intern. It was paid by a local philanthropist. I was working about 20 hours a week during my master's program. And so I'll also be presenting tomorrow about how we used LCAP funding to make a Farm to School program manager position. So that's a classified management position. So I'll kind of glaze over a little bit of that as well. But specifically in Upland, Farm to School looks different everywhere. There are some districts that don't do the on-the-ground gardening. There are some districts that only do that and don't focus so much on the procurement. But I think across the board, our goal is just to connect kids back to the food system and teach them that this is how your food is grown. This is the benefit of being back in your community. So in Upland, we teach and empower students to grow organic seasonal produce. We build outdoor classrooms to host educational opportunities based on curriculum standards. We curate a program that supports community and family education and engagement, and we're connecting students to agriculture and their local farmers. This is just a quick history of Farm to School. So as I mentioned, I started as an intern. I actually came in 2018, so there were 2 part-time interns before me. Our first kind of like big break, quote unquote, was the USDA Farm to School grant. It allowed us to leverage our current funding and then pay the other half of it to actually have a full-time Farm to School coordinator. That was my position, and I was still an independent contractor. So again, very much still running auxiliary to the school district. So we also, in 2019, started our partnership with Food Corps, and already in 2 years, we had increased from 3 gardens to 7 and increased our students taught between Food Corps and Garden Club from 50 to 890. In 2021 is when we got our first CDFA Farm to School grant, which I'll talk a little bit about why that grant is so beneficial to school districts, especially compared to other grants. Again, tomorrow I'm going to get into a lot of how we got district LCAP funding dollars, but that was like a huge break for our program. You can see we increased to over 4,000 students engaged in Farm to School education. I should mention that our school district is around between 10 and 11,000. We have 14 schools, 1 high school, 10 elementaries, and 3 juniors. 3.5 or 2.5. So the program manager position came with the district LCAP funding. Our first CDFA Farm to School grant helped us to pay for a part-time program assistant. That made it so I wasn't teaching 10 garden clubs a week, which I did have to do at one point. And it also increased our food core hours, so we were able to reach more students. And also then we were at our 12 gardens, our goal being a garden in every school. So this past school year, we did reach a garden in every school. We now also have a garden club in every school attached to those gardens. We continue with our district LCAP funding. We're on our second round of a CDFA Farm to School grant. It got cut off down there, but we have 3 food corps service members, 3 part-time program assistants. This year we have 6 climate action corps service members, and then me. So our Farm to School program increased last year from 5 to 14 this year, which has been a lot of growing room. I had to take over a classroom at one of our elementary schools as my office because we were like too crammed. But this year we're expecting to educate 6,500 students in Farm to School. So direct education, like actually interfacing with a Farm to School staff member for that lesson. So we're really excited about that. Thank you. So our funding sources have mainly been government grants, industry grants, and donations. I want to mention the CDFA grant specifically because you can get $1 million in grant funding for supplies, but if you can't pay the people to do that work, it's nearly impossible. It took us 3.5 to 4 years to get LCAP funding for the program manager position. Before that, we were all donation and grant funded with a little bit of nutrition services funding at one point. I think I was being paid as like a substitute time card or something. And I was doing a lot of nutrition education during COVID, and we've served all of our produce during COVID to the community. So it's kind of that tactful funding source. But the CDFA grant, we were able to dedicate that to a lot of garden educators, and so we were able to increase our numbers and show success before we asked district for LCAP funding. Again, I'm going to get into this tomorrow, but our district LCAP funding support for Upland, we are within the Safe, Connected, and Engaged. So students are after school and garden club. We teach a garden club in every school. Our elementary garden clubs are so popular that we have to do 5 6-week cohorts throughout the year. So we reach 25 students per cohort. So about 125 students per elementary school. We do them based on grade level so that we can do state standard curriculum-based education. Because we try to do the K through 6 garden club, and you cannot really deliver the kind of lesson that we were looking for. So we do 5th and 6th, 3rd and 4th, 1st and 2nd, kindergarten, and then highly requested from last year, we'll have a TK at the end of the year. We also are working on our junior high and high school garden club curriculum. Also suggestion from last year being that we rely more heavily on the cooking and wellness aspect of it, cooking, wellness, and nutrition. And I think that that's really going to be better for our students, and that's kind of what they've been asking for. So our program growth and reach has increased with our grant funding as well as the LCAP support. So as I mentioned, this year we're expecting to reach over 50% of UUSD students. We're expanding our garden club and education to preschool and TK. We're expanding our school gardens and outdoor classrooms. A lot of schools have already said, like, our 6 garden beds aren't enough, we need to expand, which is great. And also we have increased community engagement. We're having a very large event. Upland is in San Bernardino County in Southern California. We're having a really large event in October on the 18th. And if anyone's in the area and would love to come, I would love to see you. And then also expansion of our programming. So with my position, I took over the wellness policy and the wellness committee, which it's really great for me to be here. I already have like 10 pages of notes. I'm just learning so much today. We are also increasing garden produce on the salad bar. Last year, we increased our local procurement to 50%. We are also doing farm to school field trips, and I'm directly supporting our district SB 1383 compliance. So our district hadn't really moved much on that. And so once I convinced them this was like a state thing and not just like a me project that sounded fun, we're kind of moving on that this year, which is amazing. So how farm to school relates to nutrition, because I know there's a lot of nutrition folks in the room. Our food corps teaches at 4 schools. Our enrolled students receive 10 hours of nutrition education throughout the year. Our garden produce is served in the cafeteria. I mentioned that we're at over 50% of local procurement. We think that number may be higher, but we're waiting on some data from our distributors. directly, students are more likely to eat fruits and vegetables if they grow it. Everybody that's been in a school garden, been in a garden club can see that with the students. We started Harvest of the Month again last year, and we had 200 elementary classes signed up, and we're trying to highlight it also in the junior high and high school cafeteria. We also started to do waste studies and sustainability solutions for our cafeteria. That's like a whole other thing. If you're interested in doing waste studies to see how much waste your school is actually producing when you move into the food waste recovery, one of our junior highs, we did a waste study, and they threw out 250 whole pieces of fruit in one lunch period. And so that's kind of data that we wouldn't have been able to capture had we not actually literally climbed into all 90 trash cans and sorted the waste into 35 categories, which we did. And it was really, like, it was eye-opening, and it allowed us to directly tell our waste management, no, we're going to need 2 bins at this site, or no, we're going to need to switch to more delicious local produce, which we have been, which is great. And then finally, the way that we are doing our wellness policy revisions this year, we just did our triennial assessment this summer. And this year we're actually focusing on adding in what we're already doing across our district. One of the things we noticed that there's a lot of stuff happening at the schools, and a lot of people mentioned this today, that isn't in the wellness policy. So highlighting what's already happening within our district and our schools, and then getting that board approved and going from there as we start to do revisions. Partners, Dairy Council is a great partner of ours. One of their mobile dairy classroom educators was working with Upland as a garden educator, and she's just fantastic. And so she came to our Farm to Summer event. And this is about half of our board and district administration that came out, which was great. And then finally, the CDFA grant. I can't say it enough. If you have the means to apply for this grant, if you need help with the grant application, I would be happy to help you. My email's on the last slide. It's a really important grant. And also, if you are a school garden organization or you're a district with school gardens, check out the School Garden Support Organization. It's a national organization. They have leadership institutes. They have trainings. They're going to have a very large conference in March in San Diego, and that's a lot of opportunities as well as resources and training. And that's it. So this is my email and Ksenia's email and our Instagram that we're trying to build a following on. So if you guys want to know anything else, I'd be happy to talk. Thank you.
You were so good on time.
You're amazing. High five. Thank you. I encourage you all to connect with your local Farm to School team members. Please sign up for their monthly newsletters. They are pretty fantastic. And follow CDFA and Upland Unified on social media. I am going to skip Q&A in the interest of time, but I know that our fabulous presenters will be outside in the courtyard, so they'll be able to take care of any questions that you have, want to swap business cards, social media handles, they'll be out there to do that. And before we go, I just got to give you my page of thanks. We definitely want to thank our sponsors. This event would not be possible without their support. All have been a huge force behind the scenes and sustaining the annual School Wellness Summit for a decade, a true demonstration of their commitment to wellness in our school communities. So we want to thank, hold your applause for the end and then we'll give them a big one, the Santa Barbara County Public Health Department, CalFresh Healthy Living, the Santa Barbara County Department of Behavior Wellness, the Dairy Council of California, Let's Eat Healthy, the Natalie Orfila Foundation, the Audacious Foundation, and a thank you to those who shared real school food with us today. That is Tracy with Brown Butter Cookie Company, Brian and Rob with Edo, and Robbie with Taco Works, and a very special thanks to Bethany and San Luis Coastal for providing our delicious goodies at lunch. Thank you to all of our past and present members of the Santa Barbara School Wellness Council. Their support, this would not happen without their support. We really thank them for their incredible leadership and direction over the past decade. Thank you to all of our presenters today, many of which who traveled very far and will be with us for a few more days. This event is for the learning community. We have learned so much valuable information to take back to our school communities. Thank you for making the commitment to wellness to your school community, for your students, staff, and families. You are supporting your school community by being here at the Wellness Summit. This is an ongoing effort, and we genuinely appreciate your support and your leadership in wellness at your districts. We encourage you to keep this conversation going. You can meet outside in the courtyard for some additional networking. All of the resources shared today will be available on the website, schoolwellnesssummit.org, and will be shared through the monthly newsletters. Equally great, just so we know. You can sign up for both. And we invite you to stay outside for the remainder of today and to do some networking. This includes the formal presentations for today, and I hope you will all join us tomorrow. We'll see you then. Thank you very much, everybody.